Hello and welcome to my brief tutorial on how to complete different items in your leveled classwork, or LC. This is what you're going to spend most of your time in anatomy and physiology completing, whether it's at home during the virtual days or in class during your in-person days. The majority of your time in this class will be spent working on your leveled classwork. So let's get into it. So leveled classwork, number one, the first thing you might be doing is guided reading. So this is our textbook. You either have it presently or you are looking at PDFs of it. Guided reading, the format you're going to do is, if you've ever done Cornell notes, guided reading uses that format. So you might be familiar with the format. Let me just explain it for those of you that aren't. So this poster right here is up in the classroom. I've attached it to most of the guided reading assignments. You are going to start by putting your first and last name in the upper right-hand corner, your class period, and the date. Then you need to put the chapter and section title. That's going to be on Google Classroom. That's, chapter 1, section 1, an overview of anatomy. I think that's the first section in the book. You'll need a new piece of paper for each section. So whether I've given you one section for this guided reading assignment or 3 sections, you need to have a new piece of paper, a brand new sheet of paper for each section. This is going to help you organize your notes. So it seems maybe a waste of paper, but it's on purpose, I promise. You can save paper other ways. So the first thing after that, you can see this is kind of imitating what a piece of notebook paper would look like. So the first line underneath the title of your section is going to be the essential question. Now, the essential question will be on the board in the classroom. I'll also maybe attach it to the assignment in Google Classroom. But the essential question is just, what are you hoping to learn from this assignment? And they're very simple. You could make one up if you want. The essential question is what you'll be able to do by completing this assignment, what you're trying to figure out. And then you're going to take your notes. Take notes like you would normally. You summarize the paragraph of the section. You're going to focus on things like vocabulary words that you are familiar with or you're unfamiliar with. You're going to describe processes that you're unfamiliar with. You're going to arrange it in bullets or number it in a way that describes the function. You're going to summarize the main idea of each diagram. You can redraw the diagram if you'd like, but really we're taking notes. This is not the opportunity. This is not the time to redraw the diagram word for word, picture for picture, pixel for pixel. This is for you to summarize the main idea. So treat a paragraph or a subsection as a main idea and summarize it as if you were taking notes for somebody who does not possess the textbook that you do and can't just Google the information. So you're creating notes for them. So your friend isn't there for class and you want to describe to them how action potential works in the neurons. You are going to take your notes, and now you've described it not in as much detail as the book, but in enough detail that you can go back and you don't need the book anymore. You've gleaned all the information out of the book. Then finally, and most importantly, in the margins, you're going to have 10 questions. 10 questions per section, 10 questions per assignment. This is not per section. So every week during guided reading, you're going to generate 10 questions. And these questions are not answered. Think of it this way. You're creating a study guide for your future self. You are creating a study guide of 5 very easy questions, 3 medium questions, and 2 difficult questions, if you want to think of it that way. Over here, I've got the levels. So level 1 questions, you're gathering this information. What is the definition of? Where can you find this? What is the name of? These are very easy one sentence, one word questions that have the answers to them. Then The level 2, the normal, the medium questions, those are compare and contrast, distinguish between these types of things, analyze the order that this goes. These are lists of questions comparing and contrasting a number of things. The number 3, the level 3 questions, you're going to have 2 level 3 questions. These are predict, hypothesize. You're going to take information you've gathered in level 1 and level 2 and use it to answer these very difficult long-term questions. These are questions that can be answered with a diagram or a paragraph. And remember, you're not answering these questions for the assignment. You're just creating them. So when you're done with the assignment, you have for each section, you have a piece of paper with the chapter and section title. In the main body of the paper, you have notes, just like you normally would. You have the essential question at the very top for each piece of paper. It can be the same question for each section of a week. And then you're going to have 10 questions in the margins. Whether it's 1 section or 5 sections, that guided reading assignment, you have 10 questions total. So 10 questions per assignment. So that's guided reading. The tip chart, that's term, information, picture. This is how we do vocabulary. So the term, I give you the terms. Each week, I give you a list of terms that I think are necessary for you understanding that week's subtopic. Then the information is the definition. You can look this up in the glossary. You can use the definitions in the reading. You can Google it, heck, that's fine. But you are writing the definition. You're writing the definition of the word here. And then picture, picture is a picture. You are taking the vocabulary word and you are doing a complete definition of the vocabulary word, copied from the textbook, copied from a credible website, or a combination of guided reading, video notes, and graphic organizers. You can create your own definitions if you want to go that far. And then you sketch a picture that defines the vocabulary word. So the whole point of this assignment is for you to draw a picture that defines the word. So you're defining the word twice. You are defining it with words, and then you're defining it with a picture. You're defining it with words from the textbook website or your brain, and then you're creating a picture that defines it just as well, if not better, than your verbal. So it's verbal definition and nonverbal definition. This is very important that you do this yourself. You're not Google image searching. This is not copy pasting a picture. You are drawing this picture. How you do that is up to you, and I'll get into that more if you'd like, but you are drawing this picture. You are not copying pasting. All right, so crash course video summaries. Another level 1 assignment that I'm going to give you is to watch a crash course video. And you may be familiar with crash course on YouTube. It goes very quickly. It's almost like they edit out the pauses and the ums and the breaks. They cover a lot of stuff in a very short amount of time. That makes it a little difficult to recall what you've learned by just taking verbal notes, by just taking written traditional notes. You are going to do that though. So your guided reading, your video notes assignments, they're going to have on a piece of paper, this can be notebook or printer, you're going to have your first and last name, your class period and date in the top right hand corner. You may be noticing a theme. Then you're going to put the full title of the video. Make sure you include the crash course number. So the full title of the video, including the crash course number, are going to be on Google Classroom, on the board if you're in the classroom, on the video itself on YouTube. You are going to be seeing that full title. You need it on your assignment. Then you're going to watch the video once, and you're going to define vocabulary terms you see, describe structures, outline processes, anything you need for a written notes about that main idea. That's what you do on one side of the paper. So you've divided your paper into 2 parts, and on the left side are your written notes. This is your first viewing, your first watch of the video, and you are going to describe the main ideas. Now, here's a hint. If you go to the end of the video, you can find the main ideas. They're under you learned about, and they outline what you learned about. And so those are what I'm talking about when I say main ideas. There's a different number per video, so you need to look at the end of the video and pick out the main ideas, and then use those to guide you when you're describing the main ideas with your written notes. Then you take your second watch and you do diagram notes. Now, this is taking exactly the same information, exactly the same main ideas, what you have done in the first watch on the left side. On the right side, you are taking the main idea and you're drawing and labeling a diagram. A diagram is a picture that has been labeled. And then if you have a graph or a labeled anatomical diagram, these are what you're using to complete your diagram notes. So video notes of Crash Course in this class are going to be two parts. First part is written traditional notes like you would any other class. The second part, which is unique to this class probably, on the right side of the paper, you are drawing diagrams. These are pictures with labels, detailed diagrams. You can even copy the diagrams in the video. They have a lot of great ones. You can pause it and sketch the diagram to help you get across the main idea. The whole purpose of these level 1 assignments is for you to have a reference. You have a guided reading reference, you have a vocabulary reference, and you have a video reference for your other leveled assignments. So level 1 assignments are there to be used by you. So make them useful to you, not just to get credit, but also to be useful to you as you complete level 2, level 3, study for quizzes and tests.